Welcome back to my channel. So today I have another palette review for you guys, and I'm going to be reviewing the new Huda Beauty textured eyeshadow palette, and this is in the rose gold edition. So I will be telling you guys what I think about the palette, as well as swatches and the eyeshadow tutorial on the look that I'm wearing today. So if you guys are interested in seeing my thoughts on the new Huda Beauty textured eyeshadow palette, as well as swatches and the eyeshadow tutorial, then keep on watching. Alright guys, so today we're going to be reviewing the Huda Beauty textured eyeshadow palette, and this is the rose gold edition. And this palette launched on September 28th, and I ordered the palette as soon as it launched. And let me tell you guys, getting this palette was a headache. The palette launched at 4 a.m. her time, which was 6 a.m. my time, which really didn't bother me because I really didn't have to get up to get the palette because I was at work already. So I pulled the screen up and I minimized the screen because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get off of this screen because I don't want it to freeze up, and I know so many people are gonna be trying to get this palette. So at about 5:55 a.m. I pulled the page back up and I refreshed it, and it was down. Like, the site never came back up. And then she went on her Twitter and she's just like, well, it'll be back up in 15 minutes. And then 20 minutes passed by, an hour passed by. I had got off work, so I came home and I got on my computer and I was on my phone. So the shadow. The site was still down. Like, at this point, it wasn't even recognizing the site. It was like the web page could not be displayed. So after a while, she released another statement. Well, I read it on Instagram under a photo on her page. It said that she wasn't going to sell the palette that day because the site was messed up, and that she was just going to wait to release the palette tomorrow. Okay, fine. So I went to bed and I got up maybe around 4:30, and I was just sitting watching TV, and something told me to go back on Instagram, to go back under that picture. I think maybe around 7 o'clock, and I saw people saying that they had the palette. Like, oh my God, I got the palette, I got the palette. So I was like, what? So I went back on the website and it was down. So I went back to Instagram, and everybody's like, well, you just have to keep refreshing the page, and you know, it'll let you get through, blah, blah. Okay, so after an hour of trying to refresh the page and, you know, get the page to come up for the palette, it finally came up. Luckily, I had already kind of figured something like this was going to happen, so I had created my account like 2 days before. So I logged into my account, I put the palette in my basket, and then when I went to pay, the site crashed again. So I think it did that maybe 10 times before my payment actually went through, and I got a payment confirmation from PayPal saying that my payment had went through. Now, here's the problem that I had. I never got a confirmation from the website that I had paid for the palette. So, you know, everybody's just all in the dark, like, okay, so what's going on? Are we going to get confirmation emails, or, you know, are we going to get anything? So maybe 2 days pass by, and then I get a shipping email from DHL. So they emailed me, and they were just like, okay, your package has been picked up, blah, blah, blah. You know, it was just a shipping confirmation. Now, what made up for all of my trouble was the palette came so fast. I think like the palette shipped out on like the 30th, and I got it today. So it only took maybe 2-3 days for it to come, and that's probably only because it was the weekend. So shipping was super duper fast, considering the fact that it was coming from overseas. I think that she did a really good job on the shipping. But however, shipping is $20. So the palette retails for $65 and shipping was $20. So I was just like, okay, I'm not paying $20 for shipping. And I saw on her site where it said you get free shipping on $75 or more. So I said, okay, fine. I just added a liquid lipstick and it made the shipping free. So that all worked out. So with that being said, honestly, I do not mind all the trouble that I had to go through to get the palette, because number one, the shipping was super fast on the palette. I thought I was going to be waiting for a super long time, but palette came right away. Then the palette is so pretty, and the quality of the palette, oh my gosh, you guys, these shadows are super duper pigmented. So I'm just going to show you, well, this is what the outside of the packaging looks like, and then it's in this little sleeve, and once you take the sleeve off, this is what the packaging looks like. And then let's just open it up. Well, and here you just have Huda Beauty, and then right here on the bottom, she just has the textured shadow palette and rose gold edition. So when you open it up, this is what the shadows look like. These shadows are so pretty. So in this palette, you have pretty much 3 finishes. There are 18 shadows. So you have 10 mattes, 2 shimmers, and all the rest are the textured shadows. So the textured shadows are pretty much just pressed pigments, and they are super duper 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 pigmented. So these, they kind of remind me a little bit of the ColourPop eyeshadows. So because when you press them, like, they're really soft, but I mean, I don't see them drying out because, like, they're not wet. They're just really soft to the touch, and they are super pigmented. So when you use these shadows, she do suggest that you use the textured shadows with your fingers, which is what I did today. And the color payoff and the pigmentation is amazing on this palette. So this palette does retail, I don't know if I said it, it retails for $65, and you get 18 shadows. Do I think that this palette is worth $18? With the quality of the palette, I honestly think that this palette is, sorry, I said 18. Do I think it's worth $65? With the quality of this palette, I honestly do think that the palette is worth $65. I mean, but if you don't want to pay the $20 for the shipping, which I think the palette is sold out on her website anyway, but I know that it will be available on Sephora.com on November 6th. So this is the liquid lipstick that I picked up, and I wanted like a red liquid lipstick, so I picked up the shade Heartbreaker. So this is just the liquid lipstick that I picked up. I love the packaging on the lipstick, also super cute. I think I had it upside down there. Okay, so is this palette easily dupeable? Yes, it is. As far as the color scheme, it is. As far as the quality, it's not. So the palette that I have in my collection that looks exactly like this palette, or I thought about this palette the first time I saw the Huda Beauty palette, is the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette. So this is just how Violet Voss's palette looks. And this is how her shadows look. And let's try to open it up so we won't get that glare. And this is the Huda Beauty palette. So they look extremely similar. The only difference is this palette doesn't have a black. So, I mean, even if, you know, you don't want to pay $65 for this palette, but this palette was $50. So, I mean, it's just $15 more. So, and you'll probably get free shipping if you wait for it to come out onto Sephora's website. So, I mean, this palette is pretty much worth it. The quality on this palette is nowhere near the quality on this palette. So I'm just going to get into the swatches and show you guys the swatches. So I don't even have to come back because I swatched all of the textured shadows first. And the names of them are Dubai, Fling, 24K, Rose Gold, Trust Fund, and hashtag Blessed. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. These are the textured shadows, and I swatched them starting at Dubai, and I went all the way down, then I came back down to hashtag Blessed. So here are the swatches on my hand, and when I say that these are just one swipe of this palette and on my hand, it's crazy. So these are the swatches. Let's come in. These swatches are so pretty. And this is Dubai. And it looks kind of like a, yeah, it's like a really, really deep bronze. And then you have Fling, which is a gorgeous wine burgundy shade. And then you have 24K. No, sorry, 24K is right here. And 24K is like a true gold. Then next up you have Rose Gold. And then next up you have Trust Fund. And this is such a gorgeous, gorgeous bronze shade also. It's kind of like a goldy, more like on the golden side. This is more like on the olive side. And then you have hashtag Blessed. And these are all of the textured shadows. And you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I'm just going to go ahead and swatch the 2 shimmer shades for you guys on my hand. Since the shimmer shades, it's only 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and swatch these. And this one is Angelic. And that's 1 swatch. And you see that's a shimmer shade. That's 1 swatch. And then I'm going to swatch Moon Dusk. And that's 1 swatch also. So these are the 2 shimmer shades, which is Angelic and Moon Dust. And this one comes off, it's more of like an iridescent pink. I don't know if you can see it. Like it looks, it's like a duochrome shadow almost. It looks gold and pink. It is so pretty. So these are those colors. And now I'm going to swatch the 10 matte shades for you guys, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so now I'm back with the matte portion of the palette, and they are, and I'm starting right here, and then it's going to go across, and yeah, I'm starting right here. It's just going to go down, then I'm going to go back and start this way. So the shades are Bossy, Flamingo, Shy, Bay, Black Truffle, Suede, Cocoa, Man Eater, Henna, and Sandalwood. So these are the matte shades. And now I'm just going to show you swatches on my arm. Do you see how you can see every single color? I don't know why my swatches always, I guess because I swatch this way and then I'm looking at it, but then when I turn to the camera, I'm like, I have to almost turn my whole body to show the swatches. So, but yeah, these are the swatches, and as you can see every color true to color. None of them come off ashy. I was worried about Shy coming off ashy, which is this color right here and this color right here. And it's more of a mauve shade. So I thought that it was going to come off kind of ashy, but it doesn't at all. It has its true color. So I'm just going to show you the shades and tell you the names. This is Bossy. This is Flamingo. And I love that she threw this flamingo color in here, this pink. This is Shy. And this is the mauve shade I was telling you about. This is Bay, which looks white when I I think, let me see if it shows the true to color. Yeah, there it is. Bay is like a cream shade. This is Black Truffle, which is the black in the palette. This is Suede, which looks like a, I don't know, like a brownish gray. This is Cocoa, which is a deep chocolate. Man Eater, which it looks red, but it kind of looks like a, in person, it kind of looks like maybe a raspberry color. This is Henna, and Henna reminds me so much of Brown Script by MAC. And then this one is Sandalwood. So these are all of the matte shades. And I'm just going to show you how the palette looks again really quickly. These are some really gorgeous shades. Although, I kind of feel like with the packaging, like, I don't know, I guess with the palette being $65, the packaging is cardboard. So, I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's okay because you have this little plastic film right here. So you really don't have to keep the plastic over it if you don't want to. But I just always keep the plastic over all of my palettes. But I just kind of feel like for $65, the package should have probably been plastic. But the shadows are really good quality. And she probably sunk all the money into these shades right here because they are super duper pigmented. And these, they just take one swipe and you apply them to your eye with your finger and they apply so smooth to the eye. So I really do love this entire palette. I love this palette more than my Lorac Pro 3 palette. And I'll tell you why. It is because of the color selection. Like, if you look at these colors, this palette suits every single skin tone. Like, I don't have to go into another palette for a transition color. I don't have to go into another palette for deep chocolate. I don't have to go into another palette for black. And I have all the shimmers that I want up here. And then, as this is basically a warm tone palette, so I really don't see, you know, any cool tones in this palette because you have suede, but then that's like a warmer tone gray also. But I absolutely love this palette. I think that when it comes to Sephora, I'm going to order me a backup because I see myself running through this palette really fast, especially with these texture shades. Like, they're kind of like ColourPop shades, but they're not wet, if that makes sense. They're really, really soft, like they're pressed pigments. So they're really, really soft, but they're not wet, so you don't have to worry about them drying out. But the pigmentation on this entire palette is crazy. Even the matte shades are really, really, really nice. So I didn't have a problem swatching any of them. I didn't have a problem applying any of them to my eyes. I didn't have a problem with any of them being patchy. So I honestly think for her first eyeshadow palette, she did a really, really, really good job. And you can tell from her Instagram video, or no, her YouTube video, she says she worked really hard on the palette, and you can definitely tell that she worked really hard on this palette because every single color in this palette is amazing, and every single color in this palette cater towards deeper skin tones. So even if you are the deepest of the deep to the fairest of the fair, there's something in this palette for you. Like, everybody can use this palette, and that is what I love about this palette the most. So yeah, that is my review on the new Huda Beauty textured eyeshadow palette, and this is the Rose Gold edition. Now, I know that the palette is sold out on her website now, and I'm not sure if it's limited edition or not. It really doesn't say. I do know that it will be coming into Sephora on November the 6th. So if you want it, I would act fast because, I mean, the palette is $65. So with Sephora, you'll get free shipping. So you don't have to buy, you know, the liquid lipstick if you don't want to, you know, things like that. But I am really excited to use a liquid lipstick. I mean, because I honestly love the shade that I picked out. It's like a true red. I really like it. So this is the shade that I picked out, and these are her new liquid lipsticks, and all of these are available on Sephora.com if you want to try them out. So that wraps up my review on the new Huda Beauty textured eyeshadow palette. If you guys are interested in seeing an eyeshadow tutorial on this look, then just keep on watching. Alright guys, so I'm going to start off by priming my eyes today with my Lorac Behind the Scenes Eye Primer. Then I'm going to be adding my MAC Paint Pot in Laying Low. Alright, next up, going into my Huda Beauty Textured Shadow Palette, I'm going to be taking the shade Bay, and it's just a really pretty cream shade. It's really smooth. I'm going to just use this to set my paint pot in place. Alright, so for my transition color, I'm going to be going in with the shade Sandalwood. Alright, and then I'm going to be going right on top of my transition color with Flamingo. It's this really pretty pink shade in the palette. Alright, next up, to give my crease a little bit of definition, I'm going to be going in with the shade Man Eater. And it's just a really pretty, I don't know, raspberry. I think it's kind of like a wine shade also. Alright, then next up, I'm going to go directly into the crease with the shade Cocoa. Alright, next up, going into the textured eyeshadows, I'm going to be placing the shade Trust Fund on my lid. I'm just going to pick that up with my finger. I'm going to apply that all over my lid, leaving the inner portion blank. And I look like that because I couldn't believe that this shadow was so pigmented, like on the first light. These are some really nice shadows. And I didn't experience any kick up out of these shadows at all. Alright, next up, I'm just taking a blending brush with no product on it, and I'm just going to blend out those edges. And then we're going to be going into my inner corner with one of the shimmer shades. And it's the shade Angelic, and it's like a really pretty pink. It's like a duochrome shadow because it's like pink with flecks of gold in it. It's a really pretty shadow. I'm just going to place this on the inner corner. Now I'm going into the black in the palette, and it is Black Truffle, and I'm just going to place this on the outer V. I'm not going to take it into the crease. I'm just going to place it on the outer V and blend it out. And now I'm just taking a Real Techniques brush, and I'm going to blend that black out. Alright, next up, I'm going to be going into my Kat Von D liner in Trooper, which is my favorite eyeliner. If you watch my channel, you should know that by now. And I'm just going to give myself a wing today. Alright, next up, to line my bottom lash line, I'm going to be using my ColourPop gel liner in Swerve, the pencil. And then I'm just going to go into the shade Black Truffle, which is the matte black shade in the palette. And I'm just going to place this shade as close to the lash line as possible, just to set my liner and to smudge it out a bit. And then from here, I'm just going to pretty much be repeating the same steps on the bottom that I did in the crease. Alright, and next up for my brow bone highlight, I'm going to be using the shade Moon Dusk in the palette, which is the other shimmer shade. And I'm going to use that same shade in my inner tear duct also. Next up for my blush today, I'm going to be using my Laura Geller baked blush in the shade Plum Berry. I love this blush, it's a gorgeous color for fall. And for my highlighter today, I'm going to be using my Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Topaz. Alright, for my lips today, I'm going to be lining my lips with my ColourPop lip liner in the shade BFF3. And then I'm going to be taking a ColourPop Ultra Satin Lippy in the shade Prim. And then I'm going to go on top of that with a ColourPop Ultra Metallic lipstick in the shade Queen. Alright, I'm going to be spraying my face today with my Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. And that completes the look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos from me. Until the next video.